Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty.
Gosh, this world has just been crazy, and I have kids too, and it's interesting to talk to them, seeing the way they see the world changing and stuff. Tell us a little bit about how you came around to Liberty.
Well, I had an interesting journey. It all started off with the internet, of course, but I think a lot of us, like younger people, we weren't necessarily inspired by the Ron Paul movement, but we were influenced by it because of the videos that we saw that were produced by the Ron Paul movement. We couldn't vote for Ron Paul at the time, but now we saw all those videos. They educated us on some of the concepts of liberty, and then one of the things that personally influenced me was reading Thomas Sowell's Basic Economics. I was already leaning libertarian at that point, but when I read that book, it really elucidated everything, and I was able to see that government action is not necessary in almost all situations, especially when it comes to the economy.
Have you read more of any more of Sowell's work? I mean, I have read Basic Economics also, and I think it's a very interesting book. I mean, some of my views already formed when I read that book, but you said it had a major impact upon you. Have you read any more of his work?
Yes, I've read Discrimination and Disparities. I've read, what was it, Race and Culture. What was the other one, though? Society. I think I forgot the title, but I've read a lot of his works. He's actually one of my favorite nonfiction authors, period.
Okay.
And so, yes, he's really impacted me.
Well, Gadai, sorry. Go ahead, Leon.
No, I was just gonna say that is something that you and I have in common because my journey to liberty to where I am right now started with a book by Soul, but that was Civil Rights and Wrongs. It was a book that he wrote that really changed my thinking in many ways. That I was just going to say that, Jason. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, Gadai, I was curious. I guess did you come then from sort of more of the conservative side, and was this sort of a family leaning? Because I know this is one of the crazy things for most people when they kind of get red pilled to liberty. It isn't through the school system. The school system is pretty much teaching people that hey, government's the solution. If you want to solve a problem, vote on it. That's kind of where they're going from. It's not really market driven, so you kind of have to get exposed from outside. So I guess how did you sort of start out? Were you starting out from the conservative side with your parents, and then or something else like that? I mean, what sort of what was the spark?
Mm-hmm. Well, my parents, they were from the Soviet Union originally, and I was born in the former Soviet Republic of Moldova. My parents, they weren't necessarily conservative. They had some conservative leanings, but we were in California, and my parents, they just considered themselves Democrats because they're like, hey, that's the main party here, and therefore immigrants, therefore we're Democrats. So at the time when I started becoming interested in liberty ideas, around the time of 14 or 15, especially right before the 2016 election. I was going to an online charter school, and just researching things online was what made me become a libertarian, leaning from like being apolitical. I just started off being libertarian, and then I convinced my parents to become more conservative.
So you kind of came at it from the left then, because it sounds like, because if your parents were sort of considered themselves Democrats, then you probably consider, maybe it's just kind of interesting. One of the things I like to talk about, because it's just it may be interesting for our guests to hear how somebody really clicked on. And we've had people from both sides, people who've started out. In fact, Leon,
Yeah.
you started out way on the left, right? I mean, when
I
you
was
came here, you
when
were
I when
practically
I first came
socialist.
when I first came to America, I would probably be classified as a socialistic Democrat. Probably.
Okay.
No, well, I was somewhere around there. I can't tell you specifically where on that spectrum, but I was certainly on the left. I certainly was. I was raised in a country that was essentially socialistic. I mean, the father of our nation, a man by the name of Dr. Eric Williams, he was a socialist. He wrote several books about it, about socialism and its good glories and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I came from the left, and I've left that so far behind. I cannot believe that I was even there at one time. But good I what I was trying to get at here, what it is sparked your interest though. I mean, I understand that your parents were were from the Soviet Union. They were somewhat left leaning. They were like Democrats because that's natural situation in California, I guess. But what it is sparked your interest to say, well, something here is not right, or I need to look further into this. What it is, what was the seed of your journey?
So I started watching a lot of left-leaning YouTubers at the time, and one of the things that really got my idea about government not necessarily being a good thing was the Iraq War and just the wars in general. The fact that we're just going into all these countries willy-nilly. That was, at the time, the left was really good on that issue, on the issue of war, and then that sparked my idea. Well, if it's not good to go to war, right? Then I saw these libertarian guys. Okay, we're not good on war. We should not just be against war. We should be against the government doing bad things here at home as well. So that's what really sparked my interest in that.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, always.